And now it's time for the most entertaining, unpredictable prediction show on the face of the earth. It's NFL Weekly Predictions, starring Jason Powers, Jay Sizzle, and Steve Champagne. And now to your predictions.
All right, guys, what's happening? Welcome to another weekly edition of NFL Weekly Prediction from Cheap Seat Sports. Week 7, I believe we're up to. It's going to be another great, exciting week. I am still behind in the picks. I am feeling okay. Jason, you look upset, and you won the picks. What's up with that?
I mean, that's a silver lining, sure, but no, I'm supposed to start the show with a smile. Sizzle's always barking at me to smile and show my pearlies.
That's right.
I'm not a smiling.
Well, you got to tell everybody. You got to smile.
Not a smile.
Welcome to the show.
You're going to have to excuse me this week, Sizzle.
Why?
Yes, why?
Well, I'm angry.
Why are you so angry? What could you be angry about?
All right, let me take you back. I'm gonna get you there. All right, I'm gonna walk you there. But first, we're gonna start back in late October of 2014. I'm gonna take you back. All right, walk back with me.
6 years.
Yeah.
What has this been building up for 6 years?
I'm about to tell you. I'm gonna walk you to it. All right.
All right. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. It's
Walk it to
October
us,
2014. The Ebola outbreak has just surfaced. One of the first real viruses in modern times.
We don't want to hear about this. We want to hear about football.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
All right, hurry.
All right. Comic Robin Williams was being mourned after his recent suicide. New musical artist is burning up the charts by the name of Taylor Swift. And the Dolphins in that week, in late October of 2014, shut out the Chargers by a score of 37-0, Steve. Now, why is that significant?
I don't know.
Because the Dolphins pitched a shutout this week. They won 30-0. That's the last time that they pitched a shutout, was in 2014. So it's been 6 years since the Dolphins had a shutout. They were led to a shutout this week. We're back. I've walked you back. Now we're here in modern times, all right? We're here in good old 2020. Everybody's so thrilled about. And Ryan Fitzpatrick leads the Dolphins to a 30-0 shutout. And in appreciation, the coaching staff and the general manager decide he's benched. That's right. One of the top 6 quarterbacks in the league this year, a guy who has burned it up every single game and has not even had one bad game, who has led the Dolphins to a surprising 3-3 record and has them in the hunt for a playoff spot, has been benched. Now, I don't want to pick any. I don't want to leave anything on the table. I call people out. That's what I do on this show. I called out Dan Quinn earlier this season for letting games slip away, and I let him have it. I called out Tom Brady for forgetting what down it was. All right? I called out the Eagles for playing for a tie a few weeks ago. And now I'm calling out what might end up being the worst decision that an NFL team makes this season. What are they doing? I understand they have their shiny new toy. They want to take a look at Tua. They want to see what he has. The Dolphins are about to enter their toughest part of the schedule over the next 6 or 7 weeks. And they are in position to possibly get a playoff spot, and they bench one of the most successful quarterbacks, who, by the way, the team loves playing for. They've gone on record as saying that. This guy has been fearless. He's been, bold. He's been accurate. He's been a great game manager, and he gets benched for an untested rookie. What did everybody say about Tua when coming into the draft? Well, everybody. Even his coaching staff at Hawaii said he needs seasoning. He needs to hold the clipboard for a while, watch what's going on, get up to speed with the game. He's coming off a major injury. He broke his collarbone in his last bowl game, his last college game before he got drafted. And he hasn't even been practicing with the team because he's still been rehabbing from that injury. And now they're throwing this guy into the fire, and I think this is a disastrous decision. Goodbye, Dolphins season. If you're a Dolphins fan, I'm sure you're really excited about Tua getting the job. Yeah, go Tua. Your season's done. Your season is done. Unless Tua is a top 5 quarterback rest of season, Dolphins just blew their chances at the playoffs. I want to get your take on this.
Well, first off, Jason, I can understand why you'd be frustrated, perhaps mad, upset, but the Dolphins have a strategy, and it's very simple, and it's not tank. It's not tank.
You think they
They're
want
not
high draft
tanking.
picks?
They're not tanking.
Okay.
Okay. First off, Tua, not only the collarbone issue that you talked about, also hurt his knee in college, had both surgeries on both his ankles in college. Mm-hmm. This guy will not last. Okay, he's not going to last. If they put him out there, he's not going to last. Fitzmagic, shall I say, will be back in the fray before too long. But if the Dolphins lose a bunch of games, well, first off, what person is there? A person out there? Is there a delusional Dolphin fan out there that maybe, I don't know,
There's plenty of them.
No, D for Dolphins, D for Dallas. Both fans are delusional that think the actual Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl this year. They know they're not winning the Super Bowl. They know they're not even going to the playoffs. This is a COVID season. You've even said that the season might even be canceled in 2 weeks. I'm saying to you, they're like, look, we're not going to win the Super Bowl. If we go to the playoffs, we're going to be out in the first round. Let's get the draft pick. Let's get this kid in here. Let's find out if he's going to break his ankles. What are we going to do? Because now we can get another quarterback, and there are a few coming up in the draft. I don't know how reliable they're going to be. And I think they're, sure, the season's done. Their season was done before it started.
No, they're 3-3, Steve.
No, even with Fitzmagic, okay, because these guys are not thinking about that. You got to remember next year, how many draft picks does Miami have? Do you know that? I do. They have 2. Count them. 1, 2.
In the entire draft?
And first-round picks.
Oh, 2 first rounds.
They got 2 first-round picks. They made those big trades last year. They got rid of a bunch of guys.
Right.
And I'm saying that they got 2 first-round picks. Then they got a second-round pick. Now, so, they could be – they're trying to get really freaking young. And Fitzmagic, for all the great that he's done – this guy, why has he been on 6 different teams? Because he's kind of like Phillip Rivers. 3 touchdown passes this week, 3 interceptions next week. 4 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. This is what Fitzmagic does. Now, this year so far, he's been fantastic, and I get that. Okay, but he hasn't run across the big bad defenses of the league.
How many games has he had where he's thrown 3 picks?
He hasn't. This guy, he's played great.
How many games has he had where he's thrown 2
I
picks?
am not disputing how great he's played this year. I'm saying the Dolphins have a long-term plan, not a short-term plan, and that's what they're trying to do. Now, I'm not saying, I'm not for it because I really like watching Fitzmagic play. I really do. But look what happened when he was with the Bucs and he had those receivers. A lot of interceptions. That's why they put Jameis in there before they got rid of Fitzpatrick.
Then why did they name him the starter? Why did he even start the season?
Well, I get that.
Like why? I mean, the guy has done
Tua
everything.
probably wasn't ready yet.
The guy has
wasn't
done everything
100%.
the team has asked of him and more.
He probably wasn't 100%.
Without him, they would not be 3-3. They would not have a chance at a playoff spot. Don't get me wrong; they're not a terrible team. With or without him, they're decent. But they are 3-3 because of him, not in spite of him. And I find it impossible that they're going to be better. And why would they put Tua in now? I understand they want to get a look at him. I understand they're getting impatient. And they want to see what their shiny new toy has to offer. I get that. But not when you're 3-3 and fighting for a playoff
You're
spot.
right, 3-3. Because if you add 3 and 3 up, that's 4 and 4, 5 and 5, 6 and 6, 7 and 7, and finally 8 and 8, which does what for you? Nada, nil, zero, zooch, squatch. Let's get the draft picks. Let's find out if Tua can handle the rest of the season. We're getting rid of Fitzmagic anyways. We're getting rid of him at the end of the season. His contract is up. Throw the kid out there. We didn't start in week 1 because he wasn't ready. He wasn't 100% healthy. Now he is. Okay, let's put his ass out there. And this is not about how great he has been playing because anyone,
Obviously,
including the Dolphins organization, know how good he's been playing. And the Dolphins are probably going, this is perfect. This is perfect for us. Okay, that maybe they're going to trade him. I don't know. I mean, there's some teams out there that could use a quarterback. But, look, you have to remember that the Dolphins have a long-term plan here. This is not about Tua. It is.
It's not about this season, obviously.
No, it's not about this season. It's about long-term goals for the Miami Dolphins. And if you're a Dolphin fan, right now the season looks bright. Now, if they fire the coach, then I'm.
This has got to be the
totally
first time in NFL history a quarterback has won a game 30-0 and gotten benched for it.
Yeah. Well, Tua contributed. He completed 2 passes.
Oh, well, okay. He's completely ready. He's completely ready.
All right, what else do you want to talk about today before we get into the picks?
Oh, there's a malcontent receiver of some notoriety that is coming back. His suspension is ending in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Antonio Brown. Yes, we're doing that again. This is the point in the NFL season where it happens every year where we talk about Antonio Brown. I guess in a couple of weeks it'll be Josh Gordon who's coming back. But right now we're talking about Antonio Brown. He's coming back. He is talking apparently with 4 different NFL teams, including the Seattle Seahawks. That's the only one that's been named publicly.
All right. Well, first off, Jeff Gordon and Johnny Manziel are hanging out in a Motel 6 downtown.
Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon and Johnny Manziel are hanging out together, smoking weed in some hotel room in Motel 6. I don't know what's going on with that, but Antonio Brown. But the team, what team is going to take him? Because the teams that need him, he probably won't want to go to. If you look at the teams that can recover from this season and that are doing not well, if I was Antonio Brown, you know where I would want to go?
Where's that?
I tell you, I want to go to the worst place that you could go. I'd sign a 1-year deal.
Jets?
No, the Bengals.
The Bengals?
Yeah, or the Chargers.
Why do you think that's the worst place you could go?
Well, because the Bengals always stink. Okay,
It's better to be in the Jets.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm saying the Bengals with Joe Burrow throwing that ball, they could probably score some points. They could probably win a lot of games. I may even get to 500, maybe I don't know. Maybe at least win 6 games. But the Chargers got a good defense. They got that quarterback Justin Herbert is very good. I would want to go to a place with a future, not with a this year, because the teams that have a this year are pretty. They're talking about Seattle. Mm-hmm. Why would you sign the guy? You're 5-0.
This is what it says to me. This is what it says to me. It says to me that Seattle, that the front office is dead focused, laser focused on Super Bowl or bust. They are going for it. They're rolling the dice. They are going for it. They're putting it all out there, and they're willing to sign Antonio Brown to do it. Now think about it. The Seahawks do have several good options at receivers.
Yeah.
But they have one that really stands out, and it's basically his team now. And that's DK Metcalf.
Right.
It's Wilson and Metcalf, Metcalf and Wilson. They've been complimenting each other all season. They've been putting up great numbers. They're both number 1, arguably, respectively, at their positions. Now, all of a sudden, if you can get Antonio Brown on that team as their number 2, because he instantly becomes their number 2 receiver. That is very intriguing to me.
Not according to Antonio Brown. He will always be number 1. But I think the Seahawks might be thinking this. We got a bad defense. We're going to have to underscore everyone. We're going to have to outscore anyone. I'm sorry, I'm burping here. We have to outscore everyone because we're not, they're not as bad as Dallas, obviously, on defense. But they do not have the Legion of Boom anymore, and they're thinking we've got to score.
Right.
And that's probably the only thing that they're thinking of. But, when you look at all the teams, Tampa Bay doesn't want him. I think you should go back to Pittsburgh.
Need him. They already have Evans and Godwin. I mean, this is not like him going to Dallas or going to Tampa Bay. Seattle, they can fit him in. He can start work every
he can
play.
start. Of course he can start. I'm just saying that, I would like to see him go back to Pittsburgh with an apology, and that would change his reputation. Now, you mean to tell me if the Pittsburgh Steelers signed this guy and he does an apology to his team, he comes out there and he's a good boy for the rest of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, would that not change his messed up reputation?
I think it's too late to reverse his
Not
reputation.
if he does that. Not if he does that. If he just goes somewhere and he catches a bunch of passes like the Eagles or someplace, because if he goes to the Eagles, then the Eagles are going to win that division.
Well, let me remind you of something, Steve. He is still under open investigation from the NFL. They have not closed the book on him.
Yeah.
They're still digging. They're still asking questions. They're still investigating. And they have gone on record as saying there could be subsequent suspensions. They're trying to amass more evidence and figure it out.
I don't want
So, I mean, it's very possible that he ends up playing one game for them, whoever he signs with,
and that's it.
be it the Seahawks or someone else, And it's a repeat of last year when he played one game with the Patriots. Yeah, it was a glorious game. But, I mean, that's very possible. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens going forward with Antonio.
Well, I think Antonio Brown needs a lesson, and he's getting one. He's learning that he's not bigger than the league. He's learning that teams will be fine without him. Sure, there's always a team that's going to need a great receiver, but I think it will be a mistake for any team to sign Antonio Brown, especially this year. In this COVID-ridden season, I think he's setting himself up for injury. You know he's not working out properly. You're going to get a hamstring pull. Something's going to happen. I don't think anyone should sign Antonio Brown.
You think it's a bad idea for anybody?
No, I don't, because I think he's going to get hurt. He's going to, you can't not play as long as he's played. The only guy I know that recently that has done very well is Aldon Smith for the Cowboys. Didn't play for 4 years, and he is balling in Dallas. He's about the only one balling in Dallas, but he is balling on that defensive line. Aldon Smith, you should know him. He was a star player for the 49ers.
Of course.
He's strong. He's not getting hurt. He's playing every game. He's playing hard. He's one of the few players on that Cowboys team that's actually playing hard. I don't think Antonio Brown can or will be able to pull an Aldon Smith off.
Well, remember, you had Gronkowski come back for missing a year.
What does he look like?
And, well, he's finally starting to contribute now, but it took him a good 6 weeks to really get warmed up.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Is he really – well, this is something that people are not actually talking about. People are talking about how excited they are that Antonio Brown might be coming back. He might sign. They have stars in their eyes. If you're a fantasy owner, you're already on your wire and finding out that he's gone already. Everybody's so excited about him potentially coming back. What I'm not hearing is the potential downside. What you mentioned, injuries. He's his first time coming back. He's barely played in the last 3 years.
Yeah,
Plus, there's the fact that he's 32 years old now.
Right. Fragile. That hamstring injury's coming.
This is a guy that pissed away the best prime years of his career.
Yeah.
Now he's 32. Mm-hmm. He hasn't played hardly in 3 years. Mm-hmm. How effective can he really be? Now, he came back last year and showed us all that he can be effective. But granted, it was for the one game, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I like to see him go to Pittsburgh. I don't know. What else you want to talk about here?
Well, Seattle, they're unbeaten.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's 3 unbeaten teams left. I wanted to get your take on which of the remaining unbeaten teams potentially has a shot at running the table. We've got the Seahawks, the Titans, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go.
Okay, that's easy. I'll make this real quick and easy. None of them.
Okay.
None of them. Okay, first off, the Titans play the Steelers this week, and so that's the end of that.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so that means one of them is going to be remaining, and then the Seahawks play at Arizona, which I'm going to tell you could be one of them games.
Could be
one of them games where Arizona always plays the Seahawks tough, especially at home. I'm not saying that the Seahawks, but it could be one of them games. So none of them are going undefeated. I can tell you that. Who's got the best chance? I'm saying none, 0. There's no chance any of these teams will go undefeated.
Okay, well then, that's fine. And I'm going to disagree with you. I think the Seahawks have the best shot of going undefeated. They have a realistic shot. But, okay, so I'll alter my question. Which one of them is going to have the best record at season's end? How about that?
The Seattle Seahawks, who I predicted would win the Super Bowl before the season started.
What do you call them, 14-2?
No. I don't have a prediction on their records. I'm just saying that I don't know how many games they'll win. But they will be the Super Bowl champions because they have a guy named Russell Wilson who is kind of like Fitzmagic. This guy is the Doug Flutie of the NFL. For some reason, he just wins games. I'm not saying he's got the biggest arm. He's not the fastest. He's definitely not the tallest. He's not the biggest. But somehow, some way, this guy manages to win football games. The only time he blew it was in that Super Bowl. He should have never thrown that ball because he threw it where it was supposed to go, but he should have thrown it out of the back of the end zone that game. That's what he should have done that game. I know it was a bad play call, but the quarterback also has the option with the ball in his hands to say, hey, I can't fit it in that window. Let me throw it out of the back of the end zone. He didn't do that. Okay, but I love Russell Wilson. He's been one of my favorite players since he entered the league. And the Seattle Seahawks, I'm going all the way.
That's what I want to talk about. That's another thing I want to talk about this week. You just hit it right on the head. favorite players. You just mentioned one of them. I want to talk about our 5 current NFL players. And you just mentioned one of yours, Russell Wilson. Where does he stand in your top 5, you think?
I don't know because if you wanted me to do 2, 3, 4, and 5, I've got to go Derrick Henry. He's a pleasure to watch. I just love that.
He's a
I just love watching that guy. So he's really exciting. You know what
I think of every time I see Derrick Henry run the ball? Every time I think of it. I don't know. Have you ever worked in a meat warehouse, a meat packing plant?
No, I'm not.
But you've seen video.
Not
of him,
Rocky.
Right? You've seen video of them, though, right? You've seen people working in meat packing plants.
Yeah.
Okay, those big hooks, those meat hooks that you hang sides of beef on.
Yeah.
And then you shove them down that track that's going into the ceiling. Every time he runs the ball, that's what I think of. And I can almost hear the sound of it going down the line.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Don't get in the way of that, by the way. It doesn't end well. I don't want to be the one to try to stop him. That's like standing in front of a Mack truck.
Well, okay, but when you say current players, what about guys that are hurt and aren't playing? I can't pick it.
You can count them, sure.
Okay, all right. Well, then I got to go with Christian McCaffrey.
Okay,
and I like this kid. I can't tell you why.
Does it all?
No, I can't tell you why because if I did, people would stop watching the show. So I'm not going to tell you why. People would be very upset with me. They would be. It's just I have a little thing that I do, and it's just I don't know. It's crazy.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that off the
camera. We'll have to talk about this off camera. Christian McCaffrey will be my third guy. I'll tell you somebody else I like. To be honest, I kind of like watching but this is a tie.
Okay,
this is a tie. I like watching the growth of both Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow.
Okay.
I'm not,
nice.
And I'm saying the reason I like watching these guys is because they're making mistakes, sure, but they're fun to watch. They're exciting. They have enthusiasm.
They're the future.
They're the
future.
And they're getting it done the best that they can with what they got. And Joe Burrow, his refuse to lose attitude. I mean, this guy is getting beat up. He's getting run around. He's getting chased, but he's making plays, and he does not have quit in him. And I love that about Joe Burrow from Cincinnati and this Herbert kid. Oh, my God, he threw 4 touchdown passes.
Do you think the Chargers are regretting letting Phillip Rivers walk at all?
No, they're not.
At all.
They're not. They're not. But, it was a risky. They don't know the kid was going to be that good. They didn't know that.
Well,
Phillip Rivers.
They knew Rivers was about at the end, though.
Yeah, but he had to move on, and that was the right thing for them to do. I mean, I'm Cleveland's thinking about moving on from Baker Mayfield. So
those are your 5. Okay.
I don't know. I got one more, but go ahead. You start.
Go ahead.
I got one more because to tie.
All right.
Those 2 young bucks.
All right.
I love watching them play. I mean, it's just.
Who is your 5th favorite player?
Well, and this is in no particular order, by the way.
All right.
Because it's really close to watch all of these guys that I just mentioned, play. I'll tell you somebody. Let's go to defense.
Okay. Got to represent the D. I was hoping you would.
I
think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
You do?
I think so.
Where am I going?
I think you're going Aaron Donald.
No, I'm not going to go with Aaron Donald. I like Aaron Donald. I really like Khalil Mack. I think he's a monster. I like watching him, but I'm gonna go with the Mr. Watt from Pittsburgh.
JJ Watt.
No, not JJ. TJ. From Pittsburgh. I like watching him play. He's really intense, and there's. Of course, Myles Garrett from Cleveland. I love the fact that he waffled that guy with the helmet. I tell you right now, that somebody out there is going, "You're sick, Steve. You're sick." Well, he tried. If you look at that play, he tried to yank Myles Garrett's helmet off first, and then he was cussing at him. When Myles Garrett threw him on the ground, which was uncalled for, and he was down there, and they were jawing at each other. Rudolph took Myles Garrett and tried to pull his helmet off. He tried to yank it off. You watch the clip. Go to YouTube, find it. You'll watch him try to yank it off. And then when he did, those other guys were kicking, and Myles Garrett lost his cool, but he retaliated. That's 70s football, and I love 70s football.
You always have the element to surprise me. You always have the ability to
I love the 70s element.
You're such a pacifist, and you love everybody, and you want to see everybody succeed.
But conk them over the head with a helmet.
Kumbaya, and let's all come together and
Yeah.
smile on your brother. And here you are. Yeah, I love when he bashed him over the head, the quarterback over the head with
It
his
wasn't
helmet.
right for him. He tried to yank his helmet off first. I was on Myles Garrett's side on that, except for the initial part of the play where he threw him on the ground that was uncalled for. It was uncalled for. The game was out of hand. But go ahead. Give me your top five.
And Myles Garrett wasn't even in your top five. You spent 2 minutes talking about him.
Oh, I love him.
All right, my favorite 5 players. We're going to go number 5, Aaron Donald, who I just mentioned from the Rams. It's spectacular defensive. Just this guy is not a player. He is a force. He is a defensive powerhouse, a one-man team almost on defense. The Rams had a lot of defensive issues a couple of years ago. They draft Aaron Donald, and almost overnight, I mean like that, they suddenly get their caca together. I mean, this is a guy who is just so dominant that every play he's got 2 guys that he can cover, and he can rush the quarterback. He can do it all. He makes any team instantly. He turns them from a tepid defense to a great defense.
I tell you what. I'm interrupting.
Okay.
First off, I am puzzled of why I am so far down the pick. All I can say is you've been lucky, because if you don't remember that Aaron Donald came to the Rams, they also got this guy. His name was Wade Phillips, one of the greatest defensive coaches of all time. He shows up. Then the Rams get good. They get Aqib Talib. They get all these other guys. Then Aaron Donald all of a sudden starts to play good after he gets his contract. I'm just throwing it out there. I just want to point that Wade Phillips out there. Got to give some love to the old guys. Go ahead.
All right, number 4, Dak Prescott. Yes, I'm a Niner guy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a Niner guy, but even though he's injured, he's still a current player. I had to give some love for Dak Prescott. One thing that we have not talked about a whole lot with Prescott, we've talked about him extensively, but to me, off-field things matter. Character matters.
Absolutely.
Integrity matters. Decency matters. Those things really matter to me as a person. Dak Prescott, this is, like I said, there's one thing we haven't really talked about with him, and that's the fact that he came out to the public and spoke outwardly and very deeply and personally about his brother's suicide, about how his brother had such problems his entire life with mental health and depression. And then he went one more. He admitted that he himself suffers from depression and he doesn't have the most stable mental health himself. I thought that was extremely brave. Extremely brave. Really, that touched me to the core. And I also remember a couple of sports writers giving some blowback about that and saying, well, he can't be an effective team leader. He can't be an effective leader of men if he doesn't have his head together. And the team rallied behind him, and the coaching staff rallied behind him, and he stood up and he took their blows right on the chin and stared them right back in the face. And that is a brave, passionate man who's great at his craft. He's not just good at the game, but he's good outside of the game. He's a good person.
Yeah.
And is very brave of somebody to step forward into the public eye with that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that to Prescott too. Go ahead.
Number 3, here's a guy you may not have ever heard of that's in my top 5.
Figures.
So I'm interested to hear your reaction on this.
Go ahead.
This guy's name is Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. You familiar with him?
Yeah, you mentioned him last week.
I did. Okay. Yeah. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. Here's a guy who went to medical college in Quebec. He's a licensed physician, an actual practicing medical doctor. He also happens to be I believe it's the right offensive guard for the Kansas City Chiefs. And he is a current player, but he is currently opting out this season. I'm still including him as a current player because he does intend on coming back. Here's a reason why he opted out. Okay, this is it. First of all, this is a guy who is an all-pro. He's been all-pro a couple of, I think 3 years now he's been in the league. He's been all-pro all 3 years. He opted out of the season because COVID hit, coronavirus hit, and he knew he was going to be too dedicated to his medical profession. I don't know. We'll get to your exasperation here in a second. You still have time. You can ham it up. But no, seriously, this is a guy who did the right thing. He was already working 2 jobs. He was working as a medical doctor in season and then coming to practice with the Chiefs several times a week. I mean, that is ridiculous. This guy is obviously extremely dedicated, probably sleeps very, very little.
I was going to say the man who never sleeps because
Right.
how can you sleep and
well,
do both
well,
This
of
is
those?
one of those Superman individuals that makes the rest of us normal people look like crap. We all look like underachievers
you know.
compared to Duvernay Tardif.
Sure.
He opted out because he knew he was going to be working too hard at the hospital, and he did not want to expose himself to not only to the team, but have double exposure from his medical career and his professional football career, and then possibly bring that home to his family. So he did the right thing, decided to focus on medicine for the time being. He is still considered active. He's just opting out.
Yeah.
He'll be back next year. Now, what do you have to say?
Well, first off, I thought the thing was who's playing now. That's the most exciting players you want to see. And then you said he may never play again. I'm
I didn't
thinking
say
I
that.
want to
I
add
never-
a
I
player
never
to my
said that.
list.
I didn't
if
say
that's
that.
the case, I'm adding a player to
Did
my
I
list.
say he was never playing again? I
You
never
did.
said that.
Not
No.
on that guy,
I said
you
he was
didn't.
opting out for the
I didn't hear
season.
that.
And may never play again.
I never said that.
No, we'll
He
go back
intends
and
on
roll
coming
the
back.
tape on this.
Okay. He intends on coming back, so I consider him a great player. Number two,
On that same note, though, I mean, I'm just saying Dak Prescott is an active player technically.
Oh, I get that, but,
But
he was
he
talking
may
about this
never
guy
play
didn't even
again
play
due
this.
to that
Oh,
injury.
he's going to play. Don't you worry about that.
I hope so.
Dak is playing. Don't worry about that.
number two, Tom Brady, TB12, greatest quarterback of all time, greatest player of the game of football of all time. I mean, there's really nothing more to be said. He's Tom Brady. He's TB12, legendary.
He's a legend.
He's climbed every mountain. He's sung every song. So he's my number two favorite player. Number one, the guy who just got benched for pitching a 30-0 shutout. He's now become my favorite player. And you know what? The ironic thing is, when I was making this list, I made this list. I put him. I was going to have him number 2 or 3. I bumped him up to number 1. Got done with this list. Went outside to have a smoke. 20 minutes later, I open up my phone and find breaking news he's been benched. I was like, that is just asinine. So that's my 5 favorite players.
S9,
Well,
S10,
I get
S11.
it. I get it right there. That's good. I can understand why you like watching those players, except for the one guy that you mentioned is a doctor. I'm going, well, how can you watch him? He's not even playing. Come on. That's why I was upset.
Dak's
about
not playing. And you mentioned a guy that's not playing.
that. Who?
The first guy on your list, wasn't it?
No. Russell Wilson was the first guy on my
Okay,
list.
Second. One of the guys on your list is injured and not playing.
No.
Yes.
Who? Who?
Christian McCaffrey.
Who did
Christian
Christian McCaffrey. Yes, I mentioned Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, but he's going to come back. This
don't
guy's
know
not
that.
even coming back. What, Christian McCaffrey? Oh, now it's the law firm of Bridgewater, McCaffrey, and... Just saying.
All right, while Steve tries to think of something else clever to say, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we're going to make our predictions here on NFL Weekly Predictions.
That's it.